Hey guys, this is Andrew24WoW here with some Black Ops 2 gameplay, and yeah, so let's commentate, and yeah, so, the main focus of this video is trying to tell you what you're gonna need when you build a computer, and what kind of precautions and information you should know about before building it. So, when you're building a computer, obviously, there's gonna be a lot of points where it's gonna be very difficult to build it, or necessarily do the sequence of building it. It's not the actual building that worries me. The actual part that is really hard is actually picking out the parts, as you may think, oh, well, that seemed pretty easy actually, I'll just pick whichever part seems better, but it's not that easy. Usually the parts will vary. The number one thing that people always need to do before building a computer is do your research. You never want to slack off on that, and that's like the number one rule of building a computer. You always have to do your research. It's more important than actually building the computer, because if you don't do your research, you can potentially break your computer during the building process or anything like that. So always do your research. You're not going to regret it. It would help you so much. And if you just slack off and just pick whatever this random video says, oh, I'm going to build this PC, never use those videos as a whole to say, okay, I'm going to use this for sure, or a random guy. Always use them as references, as not as like a total guide to build it. Okay, so for example, just say you see this random video from, like, I guess, I don't know, whatever. So you just see a video of people listing a $1,200 build of PC. Obviously, you do not want to take that route. You can pick the CPU and the GPU that's there, and maybe the motherboard, but still, then again, you have to be sure and do research about the actual product by itself, and then you'll be sure, and you can look at performance, that kind of stuff. And it's all down to personal preference in a way, because it's how you think of it. Like, some people prefer 60 FPS than 30, and some people prefer at least 20 FPS. It really depends on that kind of stuff, and if you're on the budget or not, because some people actually necessarily would spend a little bit just to get 10 more frames. If you're building a computer, you should have a lot of money saved up so you can spend a lot of money and get better performance out of the PC. You shouldn't really be just bottlenecking the GPU and the CPU, because that creates problems in the future, and you never want to know that. So obviously you have to keep note of that, and never slack off and that kind of stuff. Those are the basics, the concepts of building a PC. Always do your research and that kind of stuff. So, after you pick your GPU, CPU, your RAM, your hard drive, maybe your optical drive, and what else is there? Motherboard, PSU, case, then you should be sure enough to order all the parts. Something that I did actually, and I really don't recommend it, is I bought all the parts separately, and I really don't recommend that, because sometimes dust can gain up on the actual thing. Sometimes, I guess that's rare, but it's just inference on what may happen. But the main point is always order them all at once so you can build it as fast, because it pained so much to wait for the graphics card to come so I can finally build it. So I really recommend you buy them all at once. Okay. So, after you bought them, now it comes to the actual building. If you are a first-time builder and you do not know it, it is really recommended that you watch several of, like, New Eggs or Tech It Up Tomorrow or Linus Tech Tips or any of those videos, because they usually have the best tutorials, because they're professional people that made these videos. I don't know why I'm getting weird lag right here. It's pretty peculiar. I don't know what happened. I wasn't liking the game at all, so it's odd. It was Camtasia, I think. So, the main point is always trust the professionals and not people that only have maybe 500 subscribers or so. You always have to trust the professionals. They will usually do you the best. Okay. I don't know why it's like freezing in the fucking gameplay. It's stupid. Because when I saw the raw file, it looked perfectly fine. It's just here, it's just all fucked up. So, always trust the professionals on videos and that kind of stuff. Watch them like 20 times, literally. Watch them 20 times and you'll be in your head and you know what to do without watching the video. And that stuff. Make sure you memorize it, and if you have a spare PC laying around, test it on that, disassemble it, and reassemble it after, and then you got that in your head. It's like riding a bicycle, basically. And it's really simple. It's like the easiest thing you can do. It's just like Legos in Ford. I guess these parts in. But always trust those kinds of videos. Never trust people that just don't even have that many views on the video, because that's just plain stupidity. You're trusting this random guy. Trust the professionals that have like 100,000 subscribers, because you know they're trusted by 100,000 people. So, what would you prefer, 900 people preferring this guy or 100,000? Obviously, the more is the better. Okay, so now choosing your parts and how much you need. So right now, people think, oh, 16 gigabytes is a new standard for RAM, for example. But I'll just change the topic to RAM, I guess. But no, that is horrible. That's a horrible thing. Unless you really need the 16 gigabytes, it's a horrible reference. I don't know where people got that. They think more is better, even though it might help a little bit. It's not worth the money, because 16 gigabytes can, if you want quality RAM, it's going to cost about like $70 to $80, which is like you can buy a whole optical drive or game with that money when you're building your PC. It's stupid. Why don't you just get 8 gigabytes for like 24 bucks and it's quality RAM? There's a big difference because it's another 8 gigabytes, so obviously it's going to cost more. So, another thing is picking your CPU and GPU. These are kind of the most vital parts in my eyes. I don't know about other people, but it is a really, really vital part in a computer. You always need these things and you can never slack off. So always do your research on this and you'll find the perfect one that you reference to. You can buy a crappy CPU right now, since you got the money, and then you can buy one later that's more high quality and expensive. Because expensive is mostly better. So yeah. Now the topic is AMD versus Intel. I will probably do another video about that in the future, but not today, because that's a whole big fucking conversation with a person that you're gonna have to have. But basically the thing is, AMD is cheaper, but lacks the same performance. But it's not really a big deal. I'm not saying AMD sucks balls or anything like that. I'm using an AMD thing right now, so why would I say that? It doesn't make sense. But just know AMD is usually cheaper for budget builders and medium to high builders, but some. And then Intel's high, totally high. Well, that's it, guys. Thanks for watching.